Phoenix is facing a summer where temperatures routinely crack 110 degrees. The heat is so intense that residents are pushed to their physical limits, just trying to survive outdoors in the concrete landscape. But this extreme heat is compounding a much deeper crisis. Decades of drought and a warming climate are draining the Colorado River, while the underground aquifers that sustain the region are running completely dry. The math has finally caught up with the reality on the ground. The water deficit is now so statistically severe that local officials have begun freezing building permits for new housing developments on the city's fringes. Logic suggests a city running out of water would hit the brakes on industrial expansion. Instead, Phoenix is currently betting its entire economic future on the single most water-intensive manufacturing process on Earth: semiconductors. Tech giants TSMC and Intel are pouring $60 billion into the desert. They are erecting massive, highly advanced semiconductor foundries, known as fabs, right outside the city. The United States has decided to anchor the future of its technological supply chain and economic survival directly inside an expiring desert ecosystem. Semiconductors, or computer chips, are the physical lifeblood of the global economy. They dictate the function of everything from the smartphone in your pocket to advanced military drones and entire digital infrastructure networks. But the world's access to this hardware is bottlenecked by geography. More than 60% of all chips, and an overwhelming 90% of the most advanced ones, are manufactured on a single island, Taiwan. Almost all of that production is controlled by one local megacorporation known as the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or TSMC. That massive concentration creates a staggering geopolitical vulnerability. If China were to launch a military invasion across the strait and capture those foundries, Western economies would face an immediate supply chain collapse. Washington recognizes the danger. Through heavy subsidies from the federal government, the United States is aggressively incentivizing TSMC and Intel to build out a massive backup manufacturing hub on American soil. Phoenix won these massive contracts because it offers vast tracts of cheap flat land, a remarkably low risk of earthquakes, and a ready-built pool of tech talent from older Intel campuses nearby. But operating a fab requires extreme resources. The manufacturing process uses millions of gallons of ultra-pure water every single day to wash impurities off nanoscale silicon wafers and to cool down highly sensitive machinery. The urgent, fast-moving timeline to secure American technological dominance has collided head-on with the rapidly dwindling timeline of the Southwest's water reserves. To keep these enormous foundries running without entirely draining the city, state planners have to pull resources from elsewhere. This pie chart visualizing Arizona's water usage reveals a clear target. A massive 72% of the state's water is currently devoted exclusively to agriculture. A significant portion of that water goes toward growing incredibly water-intensive crops like alfalfa, which is raised in the hot desert specifically to feed cattle and livestock. To free up the millions of gallons needed for the tech sector, Arizona is intervening directly. They are stepping in to cancel land leases and strip groundwater pumping rights from large foreign-owned farming operations. At the same time, the semiconductor companies are being forced to engineer their own localized water ecosystems. TSMC and Intel are constructing enormous proprietary reclamation facilities alongside their factories. These systems constantly capture, clean, and recycle their own industrial wastewater, creating a closed-loop system that drastically reduces the fresh water they need to pull from the city. But recycling and stripping farm rights might still not be enough to sustain millions of residents alongside these megafactories over the long term. That has led to a sweeping $5 billion infrastructure proposal tapping into the Sea of Cortez. The concept involves constructing the largest desalination plant on Earth along the Mexican coast. From there, it would pump massive volumes of purified ocean water through a 200-mile pipeline straight across the international border and into the Phoenix Valley. We are witnessing a massive deployment of capital and bleeding-edge engineering, all aimed at aggressively overriding the physical boundaries imposed by nature. Phoenix is shedding its old identity as a sprawling, sun-soaked retirement destination. It is rapidly transforming into America's most critical geopolitical shield. Because those silicon foundries represent the nation's primary insurance policy against global economic collapse, Washington has a vested interest in keeping the water flowing there. They will prioritize Phoenix's survival above nearly any other regional concern. Yet political willpower cannot generate rain. The region's primary water sources continue to evaporate, completely indifferent to matters of national security. The coming decade will test the absolute limits of human ingenuity. We will see if overwhelming financial force and extreme engineering can permanently sustain an artificial oasis against a shifting climate. It remains to be seen whether this $60 billion gamble will successfully secure the American economy, or if it will ultimately be remembered as a